Right, all right, welcome back. Today's Saturday, January 27th, 2024. Today's project on the 60 is to get the steering column in. So previously, a couple weeks ago, I did have it mocked up, trying to figure out how this bezel is going to work. Factory 5960 bezel, and it does work. I did scratch a little bit in the process, but I'm not worried about that. That's way up under the dash. So this is an Ididit tilt steering, paintable steel. I painted it probably a year ago. And this is a one-piece firewall pad that I got off of eBay. So when I mocked this up previously a couple weeks ago, I had it in there and I was like, man, okay, it's pretty much done. And then I realized that I didn't put the firewall pad in. So I had to take it out. Since the firewall is completely shaved, I'll show you in a second here, I'm gonna have to glue it. So I bought this Landau glue. They sell this in like a gallon or a 5-gallon that you can spray out of a siphon gun, but they also sell in a rattle can. So since I didn't need that much, I just bought the rattle can. Hopefully it works. So I'm going to glue the firewall pad to the firewall. Along with the Ididit, I have the CPP U-joints, 2 of them, and a shaft. Shouldn't have to cut it for these U-joints. I also have a steering wheel boot, brand new. Need to put that on first, and then of course the tilt lever, turn column stuff. That's pretty much the gist of it. So let me take you around here. Right now the dash is gutted, and like I say, since I shaved the firewall, you know, there's nothing to attach the firewall pad to. Can't push any of the push pins through, or plastic push, whatever you want to call them. So I'm going to glue it, like I said. Steering wheel boot. Have a CPP 500 gearbox, which everything should jive together. I've done this a few times with the U-joints, and then the shaft, the intermediate shaft, and then the U-joint on the end, steering column, and into the car. We're done. Got to take the brake booster off so I can put the steering wheel boot on, steering column boot on. So it's definitely a process. It's definitely a process. So I'm gonna take the master cylinder off and then put the boot on, and probably leave the master cylinder off until the thing's, you know, all done. But that goes first. Then the steering shaft or steering column is going to slide through that. So yeah, that's today's project. Probably going to take a few hours. After that, I'm going to actually, before that, I'll probably take these gauges out one last time and get the plugs from inside the house, and go ahead and plug them in and have the pigtails hanging down. That way it's easier to, you know, plug and play when the time comes. So I'll probably go ahead and gut this thing one last time. Excuse me. And hopefully get it all buttoned up today. That's today's goal, at least. So I'll bring you guys back once I get some work in. All right, so I got the steering wheel boot on, steering column boot, I should call it. It's pretty straightforward. Since I still have the factory firewall behind the plate that I welded on, or that we welded on, you have the factory holes for the steering boot. So all I did was drill from the inside out, and then this repop steering column boot fit pretty good, man. It lined up great. Just put some stainless steel sheet metal screws in. We're good to go. So next up, I don't think I'm going to pull these gauges. I don't think I need to. I took out all the brake pedal assembly and all that, so now I can access them. I'm just going to go inside and get the plugs. Go ahead and plug them in, have them dangling down, and get ready for this firewall pass. So bring you guys back here in a second. All right, so disclaimer here, I've never installed the actual Dakota Digital, but I plugged the pigtails in. They can only go in, well, all the connectors are all the same, so they can only go one way. I will say that I wish it was about an inch longer, because it's kind of a tight stretch over here on the left, but everything plugged in, everything snapped in. I got the main harness coming off, and I got the buzzer little 2-prong harness coming off. Got it wire tied, and we just draped it over here for later. So that was pretty straightforward. I'm glad I didn't take the gauges out. And man, one thing to note is man, you got to do this stuff with no front seat for sure, for sure. Or at least I need to. I'm too big for this. But yeah, no seat, no top. It makes it all right. So next up is gonna mock up the firewall pad here, clean up my mess, mock up the firewall pad, and see what it looks like. All right. So I ran into quite a hiccup going to install this firewall pad. Where we left off, I just plugged in the Dakota stuff. So I went to go install the firewall pad, and this dash reinforcement, I remember we cut the head off the bolt on the outside of the firewall and welded it shut. So that thing is welded to the firewall. So we had to chop that, but it's still here. We're gonna weld it back. Gas pedal bracket. I need to make a gas pedal bracket before I put the firewall pad on. So here's what I came up with so far. We've got a low tech science going on over here. So this is the gas pedal that was sent to me with the engine wiring harness. I just made a bracket on the back of it. Camera went dead here. I'm going to trim it up a little bit where the black marker is so you don't see any of it on the front. But this is 1/8" steel, and just drilled some holes. And so that's what we got so far. Then I made this other little template here. This is also 1/8". I drilled 3 holes, bolted it to the firewall. And I'm going to throw the brake pedal assembly in again to kind of get a plane on what's going on with the brake pedal and try and match up the gas pedal. So we're going to have to weld, I was going to use something like this and possibly make it adjustable. I don't know if it needs to be, but it could be. That way it can come out further or in. I know they sell brackets, they sell kind of generic brackets, but I really wanted to get this project wrapped up today, so I went ahead and tried to start making my own instead of ordering one and waiting. So that's where we're at so far. So let me throw in this brake pedal assembly and bring you guys back here. All right. So I got the brake pedal assembly kind of laying in there. It's not bolted down, but it's where it needs to be. And as far as this gas pedal, so just this old piece of steel right here, kind of laying where the original gas pedal would be with the angle. And honestly, I don't think that the new one needs to come out much at all. I mean, maybe 1 inch, and it would be right in line. It would be lower than the brake pedal, but I think if it's even with the brake pedal, it's going to be too far towards the seat for me. I think I'm going to put it probably somewhere about there with a straight extension coming off of the bracket. A straight adjustable extension, possibly. Maybe 1.5" increments, or I'm sorry, 1/2 inch increments. I don't know, I got to figure that part out. But I think that's going to be the ticket, is just come straight off of the extension. I wasn't planning on doing this today, but I guess it needs to be done before the firewall pad goes in. So let me get some measurements here, and I'll bring you guys back once I get this thing secured in place. All right. So I got the thing kind of mocked up, and then I had Bobby tack it for me. I made it adjustable. This little bracket is 2 inches long, and I drilled 3 holes for from 2 inches out to you know, almost 3.5, somewhere around there out. So you gain about 1.5 inches of pedal if needed, although I kind of like it where it's at. It's kind of in line with where the factory one was, factory gas pedal, and you get a full pedal on it. And right now it's just loosely mocked up. It's kind of in line with the brake pedal, so I kind of like it. I kind of like it, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing back off and have them go ahead and fully weld it, and then just hit it with some rattle can and go on about my day. Oh. So let me go ahead and take this thing back off, have them go ahead and weld it up, and get to assembling. Bring you guys back. All right, so here it is. The pedal's bolted in. What you think, Bobby?
Well, I welded it, so I think it looks good.
Yeah. So now we'll move on to the firewall. I have to notch the firewall pad to make clearance for that square hole for all the wiring. But man, I'm liking that. That bolt's not tight, but you get the idea. There's clearance on the floor pan. This is pushed all the way in, so it can come out about 1.5 inches if needed. But I like it. So let me notch the firewall pad and take everything off again, and then put it all back. Bring you guys back. All right, here we are, end of day, and I got the steering column in. We'll start with the front. So stuff can only go one way. The CPP 500 gearbox is a 30 spline, so one of these U-joints is 30 on one side, 36 on the other. So 30 here on the 500 steering, 36 for the intermediate shaft, 36 and 36 for the Ididit steering column. So that's all secure. It has these set screws with half-inch nuts, and honestly I don't even think you need them, because this thing can't move. It can't move at all. So I did have to do this twice because I forgot the little steering arm there. So instead of pulling the whole column out, I just took the 3 bolts from the gearbox, slid it enough to get the shaft off, put that on, put it all back as one unit, and it was easier to do that. So brake booster's just on there just to get it off the shelf. Gas pedal's done. And let's see, gas pedal's done, it's secure. Steering column's in, it's secure. Brake pedal's in, it's secure. Firewall pad is in, it's glued. I use a Landau top glue, and I still have my cutout up there. I put some edge molding. That's all the wiring going to come in from the engine. Steering column looks kind of funny. It looks long, but it can't go any more forward. So this is the factory bezel. If you were to not use the factory bezel, you couldn't, because you would hit the gauges. So it's kind of where it needs to be. All I did was drilled and tapped the actual steering column, and I put a set screw in there just to hold it, and then with that and being jammed up right here and right here, it's tight. So the steering column's tight. The steering wheel's just mocked up. It's just there for show. That's a miniature Chinese 15-inch steering wheel, and painted it two-tone. That's it. So what's next on this thing is continue the wiring. I guess the carpet can go in now. It's going to be going under this flap here. Tuck up under there. This firewall pad was pretty awkward, and then I had to have Bobby put the bolts for the gas pedal from the firewall in, and I tightened it up. So like I say, the gas pedal's adjustable, and it can come out. I think right now it's all the way closed, and it can come out about 1.5 inches. So yeah, what are you doing over there? That's it. I guess next could flare the brake lines. You like my steering wheel? You like the little centerpiece on the steering wheel?
What?
You like the centerpiece of the steering wheel?
Yeah.
So it's coming together. I think next up I'm gonna do the ignition light switch. I think on the wiper switch, since I don't have any wipers, I'm gonna run the spotlights off the wiper switch. That's it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Bring you back next time. Stay tuned for more work. Thanks for watching.